James put out and you know what's so crazy? Because I thought about it for a minute. I'm like, damn, Nike, I thought kind of always do, like, I thought they always did, like, MLK sneakers. Maybe it was always, I know for a fact they always do Black History Jones, because I remember the Kobe's, I remember the Kevin Durant's, Kyrie Irving's, and when, you know, LeBron, like, when all of them kind of had their shoes going at the same time, and like the peak of their Nike run, they all kind of, I want to say, I thought they always did an MLK shoe, but I know for a fact they always did a Black History Month sneaker. So I do want to play these. I want to play two different people kind of giving their opinions and thoughts on it. Because when I first seen it, I kind of like, you know how sometimes you'll see something and you'll be like, oh, the colorway, because of course that little teal, almost like Tiffany blue, it's kind of like a fire concept on a sneaker. But then when you kind of hearing other people kind of pay attention to it and really be breaking it down, where it's like, you could have probably still dropped that same color, but why are you trying to attach it to where MLK passed? And I do kind of, and realistically, I probably even play a clip of Joe Budden and them talking about their feelings and their thoughts on the decline of Nike. And I even seen Wayno kind of defending it a little bit via Twitter. But I think realistically, I know Wayno's more like a super sneakerhead, so it may be a little bit, he may feel a little bit differently about with Nike. But I think for somebody like the casual person who may buy sneakers off, especially if you're talking about just like, the older you get, I think comfort in the shoe is more than just becoming a sneakerhead. And I'm sure if you follow enough people who do sneaker content via social media, you can kind of see some of them even kind of just like maybe teetering away a little bit from just, oh, this is the hype shoe, or oh, this is the retro shoe. Because let's be clear, for somebody, I grew up in the DMV, foam posits is a huge thing in the DMV area. But if I'm being honest, man, foams is not a comfortable shoe. But when you're young, you don't care. When you're in your 20s and your teens and you wearing foam posits, that don't bother you. But you see him saying you in your 40s, man, them foams on your feet kind of start to feel a little bit funny. You question spending $200 some on a pair of uncomfortable shoes when I go get some Hokas or some Brooks or some running shoes. Some shoes is same price range, but way more comfortable. Yeah, they may not look as cool, or they may not be. And the crazy thing is, that's when the older you get, and again, I'll play that LeBron clip in a minute, but the older you get and you have those conversations, it's like, who you trying to look cool to? Because yeah, maybe to a kid, some Hokas ain't gonna look cool. But to somebody in your age group, they gonna understand why you got them Hokas on. As long as you dress them up right, they gonna respect it. Like, oh, they look sweet. I like the way you put your Hokas on. But again, like I said, if you're trying to still impress your kids or young, or you still trying to date super younger, yeah, somebody in their 20s, maybe even in their early 30s, ain't gonna respect you having on the Hokas. But if you in your late 30s, your early 40s, or even older than that, yeah, you're gonna be more worried about the comfort on your feet. And I think realistically for Nike, I see them trying to fight back and trying to get into the comfort thing. But I think because for so long it was hype on Nike, they didn't have to really worry about the comfort of the shoe. They were just trying to sell you the hype on the shoe. But again, we'll play these LeBron clips and then we'll get back into this conversation.
Girl, when this news came across my desk, I thought AI was doing that thing, honey. I thought, ain't no way that's real. Oh no, it's real. Nike and LeBron linked up to release a special Honor the King edition shoe in honor of MLK Day yesterday. And when I say the people aren't happy, this special edition version of the LeBron XXIII, girl, comment what that means. I don't do Roman numerals. The teal colorway represents the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee, where Martin Luther King Jr. was fatally shot in 1968. This is the place where he was assassinated. No one in the boardroom had an objection to this. Like, the shoe has equality written on the back and commemorates the moment where LeBron James scored 51 points in Memphis on MLK Day in 2008. According to Russell Winnington, the president of the National Civil Rights Museum, they found out with everybody else that this shoe was coming out. So I was thinking that the saving grace for this shoe is maybe they're raising money for the museum, or trying to encourage children to visit the museum, or trying to bring attention to how Trump is trying to erase Black history. But no, it's just a cash grab. John Jowers, the vice president of communications at Nike, said that design is so subjective, and some people the design will resonate with and others maybe less so. And obviously that becomes a little more charged when you have bigger principles at play. I think
I want to pause it right there where she was just at. My only thing is, you sitting here saying it's going to who do you think is going to resonate with, where it's going to be like, oh, this is kind of fire? Because realistically, let's just sit here and say, for somebody like me just casually seeing the shoe, because of course if you follow any of them little shoe pages, they'll just show you a picture of, oh, new LeBrons coming out, new KDs or new Jaws or whatever. You'll see different colorways, and sometimes you don't even know if they're real or not, because especially when it comes to like Jaws, I done seen so many million different colors of Jaws, I don't know what's real and what's fake. So when you see it, originally you kind of not really paying it no attention. Again, especially if you just doom strolling and I'm just looking at stuff I'm liking and I'm keeping it moving. Which originally when I seen that shoe, that's what I did. I didn't pay it no mind until you hear people like, oh, hold on. And then sometimes, let's be clear, sometimes when you see some people get outraged about stuff, I think the first person I seen, and I'll play his clip in a minute, is a dude who be on ESPN. And kind of when he get on ESPN, he do be getting in his bag where he's super like on his woke stuff and really, and I'm listening, I love a super woke person, especially if you get on ESPN and do it. But I kind of, when he talked about the LeBron with the MLK relation to it, I didn't really pay it no mind because I'm like, this maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like certain people, I don't know if this is really their department. So are you really reaching? But then when you kind of see people who are a little dibble and dabble or more into culture, more into style and stuff like that, they kind of break it down to you, then you kind of be like, Nike a little bit out of pocket. LeBron, you was tripping.
The intent, though, was really to pay homage to Dr. King, his life and his legacy. Nike has a long history of releasing products or commercials, advertisements, celebrating Black history, and usually I love them. They're calling Kaepernick programming. The fan reaction to this has been mixed. A lot of people saying this is such a non-issue, they were trying to be a good thing, and a lot of people saying the fact that this is real yet again indicates that not enough Black folks are in the rooms at Nike, or they don't feel empowered enough to speak up. What a disgrace. I'll tell y'all what I think about this in the next video, but comment below what you think because this is a mess. Girl, when this new
So like I said, I'm gonna play that. Then I played the gentleman who, like I said, originally for me on the Instagram side, kind of brought it to attention. Let me sit here and find his clip where he was in here and really kind of started that conversation for me. Where is this gentleman at? I don't want to get into a lot of stuff today with my man. Oh, here we go.
Capitalism just gonna get us all, I'm telling you. So LeBron James, Nike are releasing or unveiling today that they're releasing a shoe to commemorate the life of Dr. Martin Luther King by having a colorway that is taken from the Lorraine Motel, the place where Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, and slapping it on a Nike shoe and selling it for $210. Also on the shoe is a commemoration of LeBron James scoring 51 points in Memphis, because that moment in American history deserves to be on the same space as the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. Look, there are so many other places that you can take colorways from to honor Dr. King. You can take places from Atlanta, take Birmingham, Montgomery. What about Washington, D.C., where he delivered the I Have a Dream speech? The last place that I would think of would be the signage from where he was assassinated. Now, look, the Lorraine Motel has now been turned into the National Civil Rights Museum. It's a beautiful museum. I know a lot about it. I was there when it opened. Actually, I was 4 years old. It does a beautiful job of telling the story of Dr. King in those last days. And I encourage everybody to go. I do not encourage everybody to feel as though buying a $200 shoe of the signage of the Lorraine Motel is doing anything to honor anybody. It just feels like a tone-deaf situation from Nike, from LeBron, from all parties involved. And I think it's also important to note why Dr. King was in Memphis in the first place on the day that he was assassinated. He was there for the rights of sanitation workers, union workers, for their livelihood and their well-being, and to honor that by creating a shoe that is made from people who are suffering from unjust labor laws and are forced to make these shoes is not really the way to go. Dr. Martin Luther King was killed while trying to fight against the dredges of capitalism. There's nothing more capitalist than slapping Nike on a shoe on a color that sort of trivializes, not sort of, very much so trivializes one of the most gruesome murders in American history. Absolutely disgraceful move by all parties involved. I don't even know where the money's going. Is the money even going? Proceeds going in anywhere? Is it lining people's pockets to say, hey, let's go. You got those new MLK LeBrons that show the place that he was killed, and to release this on MLK Day. This is just bad marks all around for everybody involved. Disgraceful, disgusting act. And I hope that they can figure out some sort of way to right this wrong.
So of course, like I said, when it comes to Nike and that conversation with LeBron, and how they probably didn't realistically go, especially LeBron hasn't even really addressed it realistically, but there's some real backlash and you trying to wash it away, because literally after a couple of days after you start to see people get outraged a little bit via social media, you seen them push out a silhouette of the shut up and dribbles, where it was like whatever that lady said to him, and they had a glow. I don't even know how you come up with a colorway for the actual shut up and dribble thing. That to me is kind of crazy. And again, it makes you, because LeBron has done so much cool stuff in the black community and uplifting black people. Realistically, that's probably why there's not a more louder outrage. Just realistically, people on social media who kind of understand how to push conversation a little bit or get ahead of a conversation that may not be as hot. Like I even like that. Like I said, this dude, when he on ESPN, he does a great job of just like he just did. He didn't just give you a hot take. He gave you information behind his take and his reasoning on why he's disappointed in LeBron and disappointed in Nike. But again, like I said, just because LeBron James is LeBron James and he's done so much to kind of uplift black people so often, it's hard to be realistically like, you can't really be mad at LeBron James. You could be disappointed and be like, dang, dog, how much money is too much money? You could have sat here and said, nah, to this. But again, like I said, for Nike, if you pay attention, Nike tries so hard to consistently just stay in people's face with what already is working. Like because man, look at how, if I'm being honest, like I'll just sit here and say, I'm telling you off the rip, Nike fumbling the ball with Wemby. And the sad thing is, they kind of didn't. Asia Wilson has a special type of fan base, so they wasn't going to be able to fumble the ball with Asia Wilson. But I felt like they kind of rushed it. They refixed it a lot with the commercial, and her fan base is just such a loyal fan base. But I'm going to tell you, and where people will kind of brush it under the wind, watch how they fumble the ball with Caitlin Clark. I seen somebody having a conversation about that, and it was, I forgot who the two people were. One dude was kind of saying he felt like they was going to milk it. But if you're watching and paying attention how America is going right now, and you kind of understand like what the Caitlin Clark real fan base is, I don't necessarily know how supportive they will still be of her when it's time to roll out a sneaker for her, especially if the WNBA goes on strike 9 times out of 10. It looked like that's probably what they will do next season. So again, out of sight, out of mind. I don't know. She's not somebody that people care about what she got going on off the court. Like, you're not sitting here following her. She's not up on all the blog pages like her counterparts are. So it's like with Nike, you can kind of just see that they so used to some things being easy, especially when it comes to athletes. Like, look at Giannis. Like, for Giannis to be argued, you'll see him, people always sit here and say Giannis is a top 5 basketball player. He top 5 in the world. I could argue he's not, because there's no way in hell that you're a top 5 player and your team is 11th seed in the East with no Jason Tatum, no Tyrese Halliburton, no other guaranteed Hall of Famer, even in the Eastern Conference, period. And that's not no shade to Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, but they haven't solidified themselves to be like, oh, they going to the Hall of Fame already. Think about what we sitting here saying, and I know I'm all over the place, but just let me bounce around a little bit. For Giannis to be considered a top 5 player or like they sitting here saying he's a top 5 player in the league right now, still today, playing for the Milwaukee Bucks, how the hell are you at 11th seed? No Jason Tatum, no Tyrese Halliburton. No other, it's not even another solidified Hall of Famer in the Eastern Conference right now. How you the 11th seed? That kind of don't make no sense if we just being honest. Like, the 76ers is just kind of catching their legs right now, like towards the last maybe 10 or so games. But like, what are we talking about, dog? Like, that to me is kind of crazy. But again, going back into the Nike conversation, what's the last Nike? Because I don't know how Nike really, I mean, I think Nike did a half decent job with Shador. I think realistically, when it comes to football players, it get a little bit tricky because can you really sell it as besides like hoodies and t-shirts? So I mean, I guess Nike kind of did that one half decent, but just realistically, even think about when they had Odell Beckham Jr., think about how popular Odell was. You feel like Odell Beckham should have had some type of signature Nike something. Like, I don't like, what can you really sit here and attach Odell to Nike with? And that's even probably realistically why towards the end of his contract, he had that fallout with Nike. He even sued him. I believe he even won that lawsuit. So again, with all that being said, it's kind of like, if you pay enough attention, you could see where Nike kind of gets it wrong. Again, even with the Kyrie Irving thing, and the shout outs to Kyrie, because man, for Kyrie to kind of say, and let me go get a shoe. And now that's when we're talking about certain players that have a different type of impact with people. And then Kyrie just really knows comfortable basketball sneakers, because I see a lot of people do reviews in the Kyries on TikTok, on Instagram, playing basketball in them, and they all speak on how good and comfortable that shoe is. So again, like I said, for somebody like Kyrie Irving and you to kind of just push him out of the situation, and you kind of be like, all right, Nike, what y'all got going on? But then you fumble it with Print, you fumble it with Paul George, You fumbling it with Giannis. I don't sit here and see. You can even see behind me. I got a pair of Anthony Edwards. I got a pair of Angel Reese's. I got some jobs for my nieces and nephews. I'm not geeking to get no pair of Wimbies. And I think sometimes people always get that confused when you're talking about sneakers, because it's like, you can have a signature shoe, but are you really a signature athlete? Like, are you moving? Because they, again, and I think I remember when Angel Reese was really, before they even released the Angel Reese ones, when she was saying, I want people to wear Reeboks again like Jordans. And they're saying, of course, you see a lot of people online, they're going to always just give pushback. But I think people don't understand. I mean, if you paying attention now to see like her getting in movies and all these other things, you have to be a star outside of the court as well to make people want to sit here and purchase something of you. It's not about just being a good basketball player, because Steph Curry is arguably one of the greatest basketball players of all time. It depends on who you have in the conversation with. Most people say he's top 5. He could win one more championship. He may be in the top 3 conversation. But how many of y'all got pairs of Steph's? Love Steph Curry. Cool. He'd have changed the game when it comes to shooting threes that I hate people shooting. But he's Steph Curry. How many people actually own a pair of Steph Curry anything? Because it don't necessarily, it's a different type of cool. You got to have a different type of aura to really sell product. Think about, even for Nike, their biggest shoes in recent time has always been damn near almost a rapper at this point. Travis Scott's, when Kanye was with them and stuff like that. Like, those are the ones that kind of getting people to run and go do. Think about even for when they put out that flight, I want to say it looked like a flight positive, whatever it was. They had to attach it to Wale. They didn't even attach it to a basketball player. So again, like I said, that is something to kind of think about with the Nikes, with that situation and that conversational piece. What else is going on in the world?